So bear with me as I share my screen. And we're going to just jump right into the fantastic world that we are now living in on lower mortgage rates. So let's have a look at what's happening in the markets. So first off, we are seeing better interest rates. But I wanted to go back to what happened and what I talked about. And some of you have been following these updates for a while. But remember my predictions for March Madness? We were seeing all of the numbers kind of lining up to have like a perfect storm for the spring buying season. And then we got some really weird news. So here's my prediction. We predicted jobs numbers would decline, so the unemployment numbers would rise. We also predicted the inflation would start coming down, and the Feds would need to start cutting rates. So that was kind of the timeline that everyone was excited for. But then we got like sidelined. We got sidelined because we saw rates that were supposed to decline start going up because jobs numbers were hotter than expected. So what actually happened was we had strong jobs numbers. We had inflation that was stubborn because remember, in a hot economy where the economy is rising, if there's more jobs, that's inflationary. So the markets kind of got spooked and it kept rates high. And the markets were all waiting for cracks in the economy because the Fed had raised the rate so high. There had to be cracks that were showing. But all these high unemployment numbers, or the high employment numbers, all these new jobs that were being created, like way over expectations every month, over and over and over again. I was scratching my head. Everyone was scratching their head saying, well, what is going on? Like, we're supposed to have this slower economy, but then the jobs market's crazy strong. So everyone said it was a really strong economy and the rates stayed high. No cracks appeared until, drum roll, last month, we talked about it, the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, said, oops, we made a mistake for the past year. We overstated the jobs by about 1 million. Oops, right? So 818,000 jobs that they said were created weren't. Totally fabricated. It was wrong. They made mistakes. But we didn't see much of a change in the market. A little bit, but not to the extent of what we lost. So really, literally a third of the jobs created were not created, but the markets built them into the rates over the past year. So we should have had lower rates at the beginning of the year. Unfortunately, because of these fake numbers, we were at a higher interest rate world for the last several months. So that's the problem that we had. That's why that didn't happen. I want to say, yes, I would have been right if the numbers were accurate. Who's to say? But here's where we're at today. This is a shot of the mortgage-backed securities candlestick charts. You can see since July, we've been on a nice, steady streak higher. Remember, when mortgage bonds have higher value, rates come down. So we've seen a really nice push higher. And today we're kind of in the middle of the road. If you look at the little spot here that's kind of stuck in between on this candlestick chart, we've gone up, 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 and then we're almost there to the top of the next Fibonacci level, which we hit last week, but we bounced down. So we're on our way to continue to see lower rates, but we may see friction. So what are rates? And this is something I get, and I think it's funny. Nobody else thinks it's funny unless you're really in the mortgage industry. But when people call me and they say, hey, Sean, what is your rate? Right? They say, well, Sean, what's your rate today? And I said, well, it depends. Because it's almost like saying, hey, Sean, or hey, realtor, what's the cost of a condo today? Well, it depends, right? There's a lot of factors. Well, I'm going to go through kind of where rates are at for the perfect borrower and then show you what normal, everyday, median buyers with credit scores that are in the mid-range, what they can expect. And this is a really eye-opening, so I want to make sure you see this. So when you see the ads on the internet coming through, like get a new rate of 4.99, you can get that. It's going to cost you a lot. But this is a little breakdown. So here's a purchase, 300,000. Yeah, it's on the lower end. 35% down. Look at that 30-year fixed conventional. And this is with an 800 credit score. 35% down, a big chunk down, you're at 6.118. That is fantastic, guys. But let's just say the buyer was only doing 20% down and their credit score wasn't 800, They're middle of the road, like 750. Look at the rate jump. These loan level adjustments that are built into the pricing for every lender in the country is what impacts the rate. So when somebody says, what's your rate? And they say their credit score is X, and in reality, it's a little bit lower, they can be shocked at the rate they're getting. Now, this is 20% down with 740 to 759 credit score. Notice the difference, guys. That's almost 3/4 in rate. Big difference. Well, what happens if you go even lower? Watch this. With 10% down and a 650 credit score, so your credit score is not that great, look at the rate jump. So when people say, yeah, rates are lower, yes. If you're perfect, yeah, they are great. If you're a really, really good buyer. If you're mediocre, it's still a little high. Now, you can pay points to get lower, and that's what a lot of people are doing. So we can discuss that. But if you have lower credit scores, it's still kind of tough. Remember, before, these were in the 8s. So we're still a lot better than they were. But just notice that difference. And then if you're really low on the credit score, 620 to 639, quite significantly higher as far as rates. So, and that's conventional. FHA is always better. And so same with VA on the lower credit scores. There's not as much loan level adjustments there. Notice you're better off down here than a conventional. So keep in mind that it's not just, hey, Sean, what's your rate? There's a lot that goes behind it. Has nothing to do with each individual lender specifically. All of us follow the same loan level pricing adjustments on rates. So, so now that we know kind of where rates are at, so if you're a good buyer, expect rates in the low 6s. If you're mediocre, mid to high 6s, if you got lower credit scores, you're still in the 7s. So what is happening this week? What can we prepare for? So 3 things we want to look at: inflation, the central banks, and a treasury dump. So we have CPI coming out, and we have the wholesale rate of inflation coming out this week. Remember, lower inflation means better interest rates. We should be getting a lower inflation reading, which is nice. It's supposed to move from 2.9 to 2.6. So that's really, really good. So that should help lower interest rates. And then the core is supposed to be at 3.2. That's a whole nother discussion, but it's supposed to overall come down to a nice little 2.6 on the CPI. 2, central banks. European Central Bank is expected to cut their rates. That could stimulate a worldwide rush to different investment opportunities, and that should help the bond markets and bring the bond markets down on the 10-year and then up on the 30-year, which is helpful to mortgage rates. It may not be very big because I think most of the economy has already built this in. They know it's already coming, so it's already kind of baked into the numbers. But here's what I've always warned you guys about: the treasury dump. We're going to see a massive amount of treasuries debt being issued by our wonderful government. $58 billion auction on the 10th, which is tomorrow. Then the next day, 39 billion in auctions. And then on the 12th, another 22 billion in auctions. So yeah, that's over 100 billion in auctions. That's 1/10 of $1 trillion is going to be set up this week and just basically pushed out to the economy. And that's what we call printing money. So I saw a really interesting video on the Feds speak of how and what this is. It's basically digitally printing money. They digitally print it. They create a digital entity, a bond. They sell it, capture money. So they're creating something from nothing. That is very anti-inflation. That's really a bad thing for inflation. So we're going to really keep an eye on that. Now, if the market really loves them because they know rates are going to be lower in the future and they can lock in a higher interest rate on these bonds now, we may see rates get better if the auctions are good. If the auctions are bad, then rates will get worse. So I'm going to be watching this very, very carefully. So that's what could happen this week. So,
hey, Sean, sorry.
yes.
I had someone say that they can't see your shared screen. Can you guys all see his shared screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I can't see it.
I
That's
can.
weird. Yeah, that's weird.
Interesting.
I can't see anything. It was up and then it was gone. So maybe it's my Zoom. That's
Well, let me
strange.
stop sharing again and I'm going to start it again. Hold on. I'm going to stop.
Okay.
And then I'm going to redo that again and share again, maybe
Yeah,
technology.
now I can see it.
Okay,
Now
perfect.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird, right?
Weird.
Yeah, hey, you
Yeah.
gotta love technology. Just
That was so weird. Yeah. Okay.
hey, there's one thing in life we can't control, and that's what technology does to us on a daily basis. It's a very cool thing, but it's so frustrating when it does its own thing and thinks on its own.
I probably need an update again,
Who
which
knows, right?
I update everything. Always an
So,
update.
so what
So,
we want to be watching out for now is we want to be watching out for um, really the bond auctions. That's going to really set us sideways. So that's going to be the big mover compared to also the inflation numbers. So I want to talk to you about something that maybe you don't know about. This is something that is the worst word. It's the scariest word in the language of all lenders out there, and it's called the EPO. So if you don't know what an EPO is, here's what it is. It is an early payoff. If a mortgage is paid off before 6 payments have been made on that loan. So let's just say I, as a buyer, I buy a home, I get a mortgage, and then I sell another house, and then I pay it off in a couple months. That lender, that loan officer has to forfeit and give back all of the commissions that were made on that transaction. So if you have somebody that has purchased a home and they're going to be paying it off, and you don't tell the lender, they're going to get screwed because they're going to do all that work and then have to give back all of their commissions that they made on that transaction. So it's called an EPO. It's horrible. It's the worst thing. Imagine if you were a real estate agent, somebody bought a home and they're like, you know what? I don't really like this home. I think I'm going to sell it before that 6 month window. And then you got a nice notice that said, oh, all the commission you just made, you have to give it back. Horrible. I think it's a terrible thing. So be careful when you have customers that have the idea of doing like a bridge loan or doing a mortgage and then paying it off quickly. Make sure your loan officer knows so they can set up a loan program that will help everybody and not really hurt that loan officer. So I don't know if you knew this, but the same is true with a refinance. If somebody buys a home and then refinances before 6 payments are made, that first lender that did the loan, all of their commissions have to be paid back. So it's a bad day for loan officers. So know that if you hear that there's no prepayment penalties, but you need to make 6 payments, that is why. So I don't know if you all knew that or not, but it's an ugly word in the mortgage industry. So when rates drop quickly, it's really hard on loan officers because other people refinance, they see something in the mail, they refinance and that happens. So if you ever hear what that EPO is, that's what it is. It's terrible, but it's something we have to live with, and I've seen it for a long time. So we just need to plan accordingly. So right now we are going to jump into the next slide, which I just stopped. But we have Shannon Quagliata, who is the owner of Open Houses Direct. She has a fantastic app and software program to help you guys manage the open houses. So I've seen her develop this over the last 5 years. It's been fun to watch, maybe longer than that. It's fantastic, guys. Shannon, how long has that been around?
well, I filed my patent in 2019. So 2019, actually 5 years.
5 years. There you go.
Yeah, my patent was approved in February. So pretty exciting.
Well,
Yep.
congratulations on creating such a fantastic tool.
Yeah, that's pretty
I'm
cool.
going to remove my pen. Shannon, you have the floor and you can share your screen too if you want to. But guys, this is a great tool for your open houses, especially in this environment that we're at with these commissions. So Shannon, take it away. Tell us what you got.
Okay, well, I just want to let everybody know I actually do hold on, I'm gonna get hold on one second. Gosh dang it. All right, I'm just gonna share this.
If you guys don't have this app, I highly recommend you download it. It is a fantastic app. So
yeah, so I'm having Zoom issues today. Okay, so open houses direct. If you are doing open houses, how many of you on this call are doing open houses? I know it's hard because I can't see a lot of pictures. So, and what are you using to check people in? I always ask that because I'm always curious what you're using. And I say this because I do open houses every single weekend. Because if I'm not doing them, I really have a fear of missing out on leads. And if you're a real estate agent right now and you are not working with a lot of leads and you aren't doing anything on the weekends and you're not doing open houses, you are literally missing out on the leads. And the thing that I'm seeing a lot right now, which is more than I've seen, is I had an open house over the weekend and I had one person out of 10 in 2 days. It was a very busy open house. It just came on the market, $1 million, and one found it online. One, right? And it's because we have a lot of transition going on with our buyers right now. And to have an open house right now as well, you should not be doing an open house alone. And it is because of you not wanting to be in the house alone and it being unsafe in certain areas. I was in a gated neighborhood. Could I do it alone? Absolutely. It was a 2-story home, right? And it was a 2-story home, and it would have been so hard for me to do alone. And it is really, really hard to do when I have multiple people coming in. And I almost lost a lead. I would have lost 2 leads if I had not had another agent helping me at the door. So if you can get a lender to help you, like Sean and Christy are really, really good at doing open houses. If not, you can get another agent and you can get somebody else to help you. But make sure you have Sean's contact information. You have a flyer on what they're doing. I am getting a lot of clients that are coming in and they're ready to buy right when they walk in, and they are waiting until they find the right house. And if they walk into your open house and they're like, I love this house, that this is it. Remember, they don't have to have a buyer broker agreement to come into an open house. So it is really a lot of buyers are kind of going out on their own. And I had neighbors coming in. I had a lot of people that were visiting other people, saw the open house sign, said, we want to move to this neighborhood. 2 of my leads this weekend are sellers. They both have a house to sell, and they are hot leads. And one of them wants to buy the house I was holding open, and they followed the signs. I was like, how did you find this? Oh, we were at church and we saw your signs and we want to move closer to basis, right? And it was like, oh, and it was a perfect house, but not quite perfect. But I'm going to try and tell them on that. So I want to talk a little bit. I know I only have 10 minutes, but this is really what we're going to talk about at our workshop next week is why open houses are such, I mean, I have over the weekend, just this weekend, I have 4 solid leads, and 2 of them are listing leads opportunities, and they're unrepresented. And my entire prospecting for the entire week was 6 hours of prospecting, right? And I have that many solid leads, and that is amazing. But I have to say, the only way that I have them is because today I can follow up with every single one of them. And it's because of Open Houses Direct. So Open Houses Direct is a technology I created specifically because when I did open houses, I didn't have a way to check people in. It is a mind shift on how you check people in as well, but it is also checking people in at the door and getting a verified contact information at the door. So it is a website and it is a mobile app. So what I do is at every single open house, if I am in a gated neighborhood, this is golden because I already have their phone number when they call me for the gate code. I put them into the contacts. I had a gated neighborhood over the weekend, so I have all my contacts were already in there. I know the phone numbers are verified, and I have email addresses now for many of them as well. But the conversations happen at the door. They don't happen in the kitchen. And I have my app, I have my laptop open. If you have internet, you can use the laptop. If not, I use my phone. So everything I show you here is on the phone. And all you do, so like these were my open houses. This was my open house yesterday. These are my leads that I got. And these are solid leads and they're ready to buy. And I have a way to follow up with them. I have a name, I have a phone number, I have the date that I met them, I have the address I met them at, and I have notes on them, right? These are all buyers and sellers. And a lot of times I don't want to get their address at the door, their email address at the door. I want to put that in my notes because then, and it's such a conversation piece as well. But then after I have the conversation, the email address are 100% accurate. If somebody has to give you an email address at the door, or on a sign-in sheet or on a QR code, it's not going to be valid unless they really want to give you their information, right? But I get everybody's information at the door. I get a phone number that's verified, and I have the conversation with them. I know how to spell and pronounce their name. right? This is a really, really big thing with checking in. So my technology gives you a way to hold your phone, say, can I get your name? Like these guys, this was an Indian family. They were so nice. They were so sweet. They came into my open house. We were chatting about them selling, moving closer to their kids' school, all this going on. We had this entire conversation, and I had to ask them how to spell their name because I didn't know how to spell their name, right? And I didn't know how to pronounce their name. And that was probably a 5-minute conversation at the door. But on the way out, they gave me their email. I'm going to be calling them today. They're really ready to buy and move. I mean, this is how easy it is. But we have to have the conversations at the door, and we have to be able to check people in, and we have to be comfortable doing that. How many of you are comfortable having a check-in system at the door where you check everybody in and it's required? Required. How do you check people in, Melanie? Oh, you're muted.
Actually, I've seen your system before and I went to sign up for it. The website's better. When I went to sign up for it, now this has been maybe even a year.
Yeah,
but
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't like a clear way. It looked like, just like an IDX system. And I'm like, I don't know how to sign up. So,
Right. Yeah.
But right now I just do it with a pad of paper, but I really like the idea. I have seen systems that say, please don't contact me, so that they know, yes, they're checked in. We know who was there. But if they don't want to be contacted, we can add that to the notes or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, right? It's a mindset shift though. It's that they walk into the door and you greet them. And I do have people say, I say, I need to, I'm actually tracking everybody that comes into my client's house, right? I'm holding an open house for a seller that owns this house, and I'm tracking everybody. I'm not going to put your lead into a marketing campaign. And that's what's so different about open houses direct is we don't sell the lead. Now, I have conversations about Sean all the time when I'm having conversations like, where are you at right now in your buying process? And if they go, oh, well, do you have a lender? Are you pre-approved yet? Because a lot of people are ready to go the minute they find that house and they walk into your open house. They're like, oh my gosh, we weren't ready to buy for 10 months, but and I tell them this house isn't going to be here in 10 months. And if it is going to be $100,000 more, right? So I'm getting them to, well, we don't even have a pre-approval yet. So I can immediately connect them with Sean, and I will put a note in. So what's great about our system is rather than have me have to like be able to, or have to send him a copy of my whole sign-in sheet or whatever, like he and Christy, I can go in here and in my guest book, I can go to my past event and I can go to my guest book and I can create a CSV file for every single person that came into that open house. And it also will send him the notes. And in the notes, I will have a note for my lender. Hey, these guys are ready. Call them. These guys, I don't know where they're at yet. Things like that. And so it's either a hot lead or it's a cold lead. But a lot of times if it's a hot lead right in the house, I already have their number. I connect them right after they walk out the door, and I connect them via text, right? And that's what's so unique about our system is it literally, it is a mobile phone verification system. But I'll tell you why it's so important. And I've had everything happen in my history of open houses. I've been doing open houses for 20 years. Everything I created in my technology was needed for me in a check-in system as well. It's not a QR code and it's not a piece of paper. It has to be a personal engagement. But the thing about a piece of paper is if you have an open house and nobody comes in all day, right? And then you say, would you sign in on my sheet of paper? And there's no names there, right? That looks like either nobody signed in or what's wrong with this house and I'm the only person that came in, right? It's the end of the day. Or you have everybody's information that came into your open house on your sign-in sheet that everybody else can see. And that's even worse, right? You have everybody's names and phone numbers and email addresses and all this other stuff. And that's even worse to have a sign-in sheet out. And we can't take notes on a piece of paper because we don't want other people seeing our notes, right? I have certain notes that I'm going to send to my lender, send to lender, get pre-qualified, do this, or whatever it is. My notes are my personal notes, right? And I don't want anybody to see those. And it doesn't mean that they aren't allowed to be seen, but nobody really needs to see what notes I took on another client that came in, right? I could say hot lead, right? And I don't want somebody to see that on a piece of paper. So everything I have, I did for a reason. And you can check people in, you can capture their mobile phone number, you can take notes on them, you can easily follow up with them, and more importantly, you can share them with your lender and have them help you follow up. And Sean and I have had many clients that we have worked with together where I've sent him a lead and then I get the updates from him. And I think you have to remember, if you can get him a client that's new in the buying process where they're not ready till January, he can work with them. And then rather than me hound the buyer who's not ready yet because they're not, and they're like, oh my gosh, this agent's so annoying. Instead, I get my updates from Sean. Hey, how's it going? Well, looks like they're not ready probably till January. So my follow-up is catered to that, right? Hey, I know that you guys probably aren't ready to buy right now, but I'm just going to keep you updated on interest rates, and I'm going to keep you updated on houses in the event something comes up that you like, right? So this is how powerful this system is. And a sign-in sheet, we should not be using a piece of paper sign-in sheet in our day of technology. And the only reason we do is because we don't have another system like mine that is super easy to use. And yes, a year ago, it had a lot more things. Now you just like sign in on the website, create an account, and then you download the app, log in, and everything can be done on your phone. So it's super, super easy. And so we are going to be doing, like I said, on the technology just itself, we have a Tuesday call every Tuesday at 10 a.m. I'll give that to Christy. And that's just on how to create your account, how to add a listing, how to check people in. And that's all that is. Every single Tuesday, I do that live. I teach that. But our workshop next week with Sean and Christy is really going to be about checking in our visitors and getting comfortable having these conversations. I mean, the conversations I had over the weekend, these like nothing comes up about buyer broker. And I hear this nationally. I see all these posts and whatever. I'm like, I don't know about you guys. I have these open houses. Nobody has that conversation when they walk in, right? It's like that comes up after the fact, because at an open house, that's what's so amazing right now. At an open house, we don't have to have that immediate uncomfortable conversation about a buyer broker agreement until we've had a conversation with them at the open house for about 15 or 20 minutes. And then it might come up. If they want to go see houses, it's going to come up. Yeah, go ahead, Melanie.
I did see somebody, they may have been using your system, but I went to an open house with clients and I really liked it. They had a sign in the yard, probably an 18 by 24, just, you know, one of those wire corrugated plastic signs, like a political sign that said, thank you for checking in. It is required. So that, and you know, and I told my clients, you know, the owner, I just prepared them. The owner is requiring, like you've said it, I've seen your past things, you know, the owner is requiring that everybody that comes into this house, that they have their name and email. It doesn't mean they're going to be, you know, marketing you, but it was, I think it disarmed them at first. And then anybody that's trying to be super sly, maybe they just don't come to the door. But I thought that was a really nice way to do it, is let people know, you know, kind of forewarn them, you'll need to check in.
Right. And they have to, and I'll tell you right now, I have agents who are calling me going, wow, like more than ever, this whole buyer broker thing has made open houses so easy because nobody says no anymore. But what are they going to do? They can't really say no. And it's also in the delivery. Everything's in the delivery. Nobody came into my open house over the weekend and said no to me. I'm in a gated neighborhood. I'm in $1 million listing and it's not occupied. It was vacant, but nobody could get past me because I'm not in the kitchen, right? I'm not all the way in the back of the house. I'm in the front door with a reception area. And what happens when you have a reception desk and you have a reception area is literally you congregate there. It's like a greeting. And Christy's been doing this with me for how many years now, right? And the conversations that convert are the ones that are happened at the door. They happen at the door. The greetings are, I had this Indian family come in and their names, and I only say they were Indian because their names were so different. I mean, we were laughing and I had a check-in assistant there, another agent that was helping me. And we were like, okay, well, we have to write all these names down. And we had the whole family, the kids and everything. And we were writing their names down and they didn't care if they gave us their phone number and their email address. Like they were just so excited and they walk around the house. They were in there for almost an hour. right? And now they were like, we're ready, but I don't know, this house like doesn't have enough light. And the whole time, here's what happens at the door. When you get somebody's information at the door and they have that out of their head, right? Now they're going to comfortably talk to you. So as they're walking through the house, they're telling me, and as they're telling me, I am taking notes because I won't remember. They're telling me, well, really what we really want light. We want a lot of natural light. We want this. We want that. We need a bedroom downstairs for our family. We want to be close to the school. We want to do this. And if I don't take those notes, by the time I get to follow up with them, if I have a busy open house, I won't remember all that, right? Because I might not get to it till Tuesday because I'm really busy on Monday. And so being able to take those notes and keep them all like right here is so important. Like all my notes are in my leads. So I know I don't have a ton of time. So if you want more information on open houses direct and on the technology for your next open house, our Tuesday calls are just about the technology. Our workshop is really about the conversations and the entire process because and how to and why our lenders are so important right now. Like these calls right now are going to help you convert people that come in the door because
I just want to say,
what's that?
I just want to say before we finish up too, you guys, that I have done this with Shannon for the last 5 years. And as the person checking the people in, like if you have another realtor or a lender or a title or whoever you have with you, it is so much easier for me to check people in on her system because if it is a busy open house, I'm the one that's taking the names. I'm the one, it looks professional. And to me, that says everything. So when people come to me, I'm the one that's saying all that. And then Shannon's able to actually take the people around the house, engage in conversations and do all that while I'm the one taking the notes and getting the information. So that's why it is not only safety, but it is important to have someone else at that open house with you guys, just to have that availability to be able to check the people in. And honestly, I think we've had one neighbor, one person maybe that has said no to like not, and it was a neighbor and they didn't do it. And so they didn't come in and that was okay, right? Like if they really want to see the house, they'll make an appointment later, you'll get the information and it'll be there. But a lot of people now, I think it's silly that we're not requiring this information for people to check in houses. So that's my take on it.
I think there's one more thing. So maybe it's like Costco, right? You have to get out your card, you have to go through the long parking. Like by the time you're there, you're going to take the time to look around. If you can just like walk in and walk out, you may not take as much time looking at the house. So maybe that, I'm guessing it doesn't take very long, but it's also, what is it? The spend fallacy, or I'm not sure what marketing term, there's a marketing term out there for when you spend money to get something, it's, you're invested. So maybe you're a little more invested of, let's really take a look at this house.
Absolutely.
Well, here's what happens. It's a mindset. It's a mind shift. It's everything, right? Everything you have to remember, like if they are avoiding checking in or a sign-in sheet or the QR code where people are directed, when you connect with them at the door, if you send them to a QR code, you have actually disconnected that connection instantly. You've created you are now a transaction to me. Go over there. I don't know how to spell your name. I don't know how to say your name. I checked in a girl over the weekend and I said, what's your name? She said, Teresa. And I said, is that with an H or an E? And she said, oh my gosh, that was so awesome that you asked me that. It is with an E. It is not with an H. So guess what happens when I follow up with her? I'm not sending her Teresa with an H, right? Because immediately she's going to be like, well, I know that's not somebody that knows me. But the immediate connection she had with me by just asking her how to spell her name, right? And is that with an L or two L's? Like things like that. It's really amazing because I go, oh, wow. But then it takes her mind completely off of the fact that she just had to give me her information, right? Her mobile phone number, not home phone. And walk around, have a great time, and then I'll come find you. And I feel like it's really the greeting, and they are going to hang out longer. You want to know why? Because they're not trying to do the Houdini on you and trying to get in and out without you seeing them. No, they do. They try and go in. They're like, oh, maybe she's talking to somebody. Let's hurry up and go in the bedrooms and leave. And they might have missed the backyard, right? Because they were hurrying to avoid you. And when you do it at the door, you're right. They have a tendency to hang out. Right, a little bit longer.
Yes, absolutely. And Shannon, I hate to cut you off. We are.
I know. We could.
We are going to have this open house workshop on the 18th, you guys. So if you're interested, please let me know. We'll get you RSVP'd to attend that class with us. And she's going to go into much more detail. The class is from, it's 1 to 2:30. Yes, on the 18th. So you guys let me know if you can attend, and she'll go into much more detail. And then Sean, I'm going to go let you say goodbye if you're still on here or not on a phone call.
I am still here. I am
all
still
right.
here. Yes.
All right.
So thank you so much, Shannon, for everything that you do. And we really do appreciate you and your fantastic app that you dreamed up. So thank you for that. All right. So guys, moving into the week, I want you to make sure you understand that the pre-qualifications that we offer, our platinum approval, comes with a $5,000 guarantee to the seller. So if the buyer doesn't perform because of the lender's issues, we will give the seller $5,000. So if you have a listing and you want to make sure that your seller is protected and to make sure that that buyer is properly vetted, this is a great thing to add to your listing presentation, that I will provide you a lender for this that will guarantee the loan gets closed. And if it doesn't, for some reason, the lender made a mistake or anything, you will get $5,000. Don't forget about that. So you guys have a phenomenal week. If you need anything, I'm always here, even after hours. Shoot me a text, an email, whatever it may be. Look forward to serving you guys. Have a phenomenal week. And let's hope that these bond auctions go well, because we want to keep rates on a trajectory lower. So have a great week, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys. See you later. Bye.
See you guys.